best place to be.
From the studios of EWTN, this is Open Line. In North America, call toll-free 1-800-585-9396. That's 1-800-585-9396. Outside North America, call 1-205-271-2985. You can also send an email to openline@ewtn.com.
I hope everybody had a fantastic Labor Day weekend. We're back at it here on an Open Line Tuesday with our pro-life warrior, Barbara McGuigan. If you've got a question for Barbara, the number is 1-800-585-9396. That's toll-free anywhere in North America, 1-800-585-9396. If you're outside the United States and Canada, your number is 205-271-2985. That's 205-271-2985, and we will put you straight to the front of the line. And if you'd like to send an email, we'll take those at EWTN at, how am I doing? openline@EWTN.com. If you get a busy signal throughout the program, keep trying. A line will free up for you eventually, and we'd love to hear what you have to say on this Pro-Life Tuesday edition of EWTN's Open Line. I'm Jack Williams. Elena Rodriguez produces the program, and your call screener is Mr. Matt Gubensky. Our host, as she is every Tuesday, our pro-life warrior, Barbara McGuigan. How in the world are you?
I'm doing great, really great, better than I deserve.
Did you labor, or did you...
I labored, actually.
Yeah.
I labored getting ready for today, yes.
On Labor Day, did you labor?
Yes, that was yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I labored
on
Labor Day.
Well, you are busy.
I wasn't in labor.
Well, at least not yesterday.
No, not yesterday. No, that's right.
Well, Barbara, excuse me. Golly, Barbara, I gave you some homework at the end of last week's program.
You did.
And it's been brought to my attention that you have completed your assignment.
Yes, I have completed my assignment. And, this was about I don't know if it was a man or woman who called in last week.
I think it was a young lady.
Oh, was it a young lady? Okay, good. Well, because I'm not able to ask her the reason why she says people shouldn't give birth to many kids, but she was against abortion, she said, which is a good thing. I can at least praise her for her good reason for understanding the sanctity of unborn human life, and I'd like to also thank her for her good sense to say she is against killing the babes in the womb. But without her response as to why she says people shouldn't give birth to many kids, I can begin by saying from experience, that when I hear comments like this, it just hurts my heart because I'm a sister to 6 brothers and 4 sisters. And I can remember my mom saying to anyone who glared at our family, usually this was in public places, not in church, and if they wondered why, just kind of looking at her like, what? My mom would always say, which one of them could I do without? And when we went out together, Jack, as a family, our mom always made certain we were dressed in our best, hair combed, teeth brushed, and I can still see her taking the time to polish our baby's white high-top shoes. And we always had a baby, so she was always polishing shoes. But my mom taught us a very simple lesson. Jack, she said, every baby brings his own sandwich, which in other words means that God always provides. And honestly, as the oldest of the bunch, I watched this very closely. My dad raised 11 children by selling life insurance. He was very good at it. He worked very hard, and he had to travel almost every week for 9 years of my life. And our parents were willing to make many sacrifices so that all of us received the spiritual formation in the faith. But mostly, they worked hard to give us a holy example of what it means to live virtuous lives. This has made all the difference in the world to every last one of us. And they didn't sit us down to teach us that all life came from God and is going back to God, and for that reason all life is sacred. And they didn't sit us down to say all life is a gift from the all-loving God. Nor did they tell us that each one of us was unique, distinct, and unrepeatable. That's what I've been given for 30 years in my seminars, that we were made in the image and likeness of God for a specific person. purpose rather, they didn't have to do this because they lived it. They embrace life, and they embrace the crucible that life sometimes can bring. So when I think back on my childhood and on so many happy moments, the very happiest of all seemed to be those when Mom and Dad brought home our new baby. And they did this 10 times. So I was a very happy camper. And these babies were living proof of our parents' love for each other, living proof that we are all unique, distinct, and unrepeatable, and living proof that life is truly a gift that blesses us. And it really does to this day in my family. So is it any wonder why so many families today are unhappy and even broken? The greatest source of joy in a family is new life. And when I think back on these crazy little babies we had, babies are funny and they're happy and they thrive on interaction between brothers and sisters. Life is a gift for the family, for the whole world, but even more because, Jack, we were created by God for God. Every human being is willed into existence by God's love. And if we can wrap our brains around that concept alone, it's phenomenal to think of that we only have so many heartbeats on this earth. But probably since the beginning of time, some people have asked, why would anyone want to bring kids into this world? Like, basically, I think our caller was asking. Well, I have a reason. I have an answer for this. Because we don't have children for this world. We have children for the next. Is our goal not to know, love, and serve God on this earth, so to be with Him for all eternity in heaven? Well, if you're never conceived, or conceived but never given the chance to be born, you're only known to the heart of God. We all want to spend eternity with our triune God, with the breathtaking beauty we call our Blessed Mother, with all the angels and the saints, including all our loved ones who will be members of the church triumphant, those in heaven. It doesn't get any better than this. Now, as far as our caller goes, I know there are many more reasons that I could give you for larger families, but this is my experience. And certainly there are individuals who did not have the luxury of holy parents, who see children as blessings, not burdens. And that makes a big difference in how one looks at bringing new life into the world, which could be why our caller said that. But I would ask all of us, including our caller, to focus on things eternal rather than temporal. When we begin with false principles rather than first principles, we end up eliminating children in ways that would make savages blush. Some see no value whatsoever in a newly conceived life, but are perfectly content in harvesting and selling valuable body parts to put into a stream of commerce. What civilized culture does this? One with a deep, dark soul and no conscience. So, bottom line, the truth is, ignorance will have its innings, but it will always lose in the ninth. And here's why. If we look at St. John's prologue, chapter 1, verses 1 through 5. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came to be through Him, and without Him nothing came to be. What came to be through Him was life, and this life was the light of the human race. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. We are children of the light, and we must welcome children of the light. No sacrifice is too great for another child to be brought into the world. So, I just encourage all of us to put on the mind of Christ, live the truth, because whoever lives the truth comes to the light, so that his works may be clearly seen as done in God. End quote. Because we must see how God sees, act how God acts, and love how God loves. And He welcomes all of us. And that's all that matters. The darkness will not, cannot overcome us.
You know who I have never heard complain about large families?
Who, Jack?
The members of large families.
Amen. That's just it. And I've never heard mothers of large families complain. But you know who I've heard complain? Women who, when they grow older, say, I wish I would have had more children. That's who I hear complain. In all of my travels, that has been a constant.
Straight ahead, we're going to talk about some breaking news out of the state of Kentucky. We'll also talk to Judy in Omaha, Nebraska, and we've got plenty of time for your phone calls. We want to hear what you have to think at 1-800-585-9396, toll-free anywhere in North America. Open Line Tuesday with Barbara McGuigan.
"60 Seconds" with Mother Angelica.
It's like the brides, 10 were very, very fervent, and they had oil in their lamp, and they had extra oil. Well, here were 10 that didn't. They had oil in their lamps, but no extra oil. Here the bridegroom is coming, and those who had just the oil in their lamp all went out. And they said, give me some of your oil. And they said, hey, we can't, lest we too run out. Now, the first thought in your mind is, they're uncharitable. Why didn't they share, right? I know what you're thinking. I thought the same thing. But see, when we die, my friends, when the bridegroom calls you and me, there's no more time to get oil. You've had 5 years, 10 years, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. You got to repent. You got to go ahead of time and put oil in that lamp.
The people you know and trust are on EWTN.
Podcasts of Open Line are available within 24 hours of live broadcast. Go to EWTN.com and click on Multimedia.
This is Life Issues with Brad Mattis, president of Life Issues Institute.
Earlier this year, I was talking to friends about Belgium making it legal to euthanize a child of any age. I worried that America might try to follow suit and was ridiculed for being a radical thinker. Well, it's already happening. Assisted suicide proponents in Colorado are submitting an initiative to their state's constitution to legalize physician-assisted suicide. What's especially alarming is the wording, which would allow patients who are medically incompetent to be euthanized. This includes children, and if passed, it could be done on people without their consent. After Belgium legalized euthanasia, it took only 12 years for them to get to the children. We must remain vigilant at home because euthanasia's claws are quietly working to embed themselves into American society.
Follow us on Twitter at Life Issues USA and stay informed, more informed than you've ever been.
This is Open Line on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. If you have a question or comment, call 1-800-585-9396. Outside North America, call 1-205-271-2985 or send an email to openline@ewtn.com.
Hey, would you like to start a Catholic radio station in your community? Then you'll want to attend our EWTN Catholic Radio Conference this October. If you're listening to Catholic radio via a Catholic radio station, you should be grateful to those who have put that on the air. But if you're listening via some other platform because you don't have a radio station, God may be calling you to do that in your community. Go to EWTNCatholicRadioConference.com for all the details. EWTNCatholicRadioConference.com. Barbara.
Yes.
To the phones we go.
To the phones we go.
Our leadoff hitter is Judy in Omaha, Nebraska, listening on Spirit Catholic Radio FM 102.7. Judy, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hi, Judy. Hello, Judy.
We've lost Judy.
Okay.
Let's put Judy on hold. We'll come back to her. Instead, we'll try Jim in North Dakota, listening
Okay.
on Real Presence Radio FM 91.7. Jim, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hi, Jim. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, thank you for taking my call. I just,
Sure.
listening to your last comment. Hello?
Yes. Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, just listening to your last comment. So we have a small family, just a daughter and a son, but they both are somewhat upset with their mother and I because we never had more children. So they both intend on having large families. They said it's way more fun with a large family.
It's very crazy, I'll tell you, and that's often very much fun. Well, see, there you go. It's good that They must know larger families, do you think, in your area or something?
Had four brothers and sisters, and we all have kids, and so I mean, family get-togethers can be kind of crazy.
Yes, oh, it's just really so much fun. We had a baptism this past Saturday. Father Luke Matta was the one who baptized our 14th grandbaby, and I'm telling you, it was really something. And you know what this baby did? She was dressed like a human doll. She looked so beautiful. And at the end of her baptism, when the priest was saying the final prayers, she lifted up both of her arms like she was just, yay, I'm a child of God. It was the cutest thing you ever saw. And I've never seen a baby do that before. So we just all got such a good laugh. So, yeah, crazy things do happen, Jim. And thank you for calling in. And good that your kids will want to have more kids. You'll have fun.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'm looking forward to it. Well, thank you very much for all you both of you do.
Oh, well, God bless you, and you're welcome for sure, but all glory goes to God, as we know.
Thanks, Jim, so much for that phone call, and God bless you. We'll keep you and your ever-growing, hopefully, family in our prayers here at EWTN. And, Barbara, we've got some breaking news out of the great state of Kentucky.
Yes,
almost
we
hot,
do.
almost hot off the presses.
Almost hot off the presses. I think within the last hour, the federal judge today, in the last hour, ordered the Kentucky clerk, Kim Davis,
Right.
who refused to issue marriage licenses to gay couples, he ordered her to be released from jail. She didn't belong there, and it's a good thing he came up with this. And so this is a brand new development that came for Kim, and she was drawing the personal attention of a couple Republican presidential candidates, which could be why this particular judge didn't want such a spotlight on his decision. But yes, it came down, and he basically said that she is not to interfere in any way with the marriage licenses now being issued by her office. See, all she wanted, Jack, was her name taking off the certificate, off the marriage license. She wanted her name off, and she didn't want any part of it. But she wasn't telling anyone else in her office that they couldn't do it. That was their decision that they were going to make. So I don't know how her legal team is going to look at this and what they will do, but she could not have any part of it. No part of it. So, but you know what? There's a lot more to this. There's a lot more behind this, and I know our people know this. She was following her conscience, and there were actually 125 county officials throughout Kentucky who would issue gay marriage licenses. So you see why they came to her. I guess word got out that she was not going to be able to do that. But if you look in a gay, I don't know, not a gay marriage magazine, but it's a gay magazine called The Nation. It's a major left-wing magazine. The day before the U.S. Supreme Court ruled, the gay marriage ruling came out, they gave their entire agenda. And the title of the article was, "What's Next for the LGBT Movement?" We've talked about this before. This is not new, but I believe that all Christians have to have a heads up on this, because their plan is to delegitimize and to crush all opposition to their agenda everywhere in America, particularly in the churches, no matter how small the church. They want to disestablish marriage, which we all knew that. Gay marriage was just a stepping stone in their goal, because their actual goal is that there be no formal marriage rules at all. So incestuous marriages, the types of, where you have different couples in marriage, all married together, that whole thing. No connection, no groups can be refused marriage. Then they want to pass strong LGBT non-discrimination laws, because we are trying to get the laws set up where, just like what we are trying to do with Kim Davis, is to say that you can be a conscientious objector. Okay, well, they want to get their non-discrimination laws in the United States enforced so that no baker can refuse to bake a gay marriage cake or face huge punishments. So this is all part of it. They want to ban all religious liberty laws. They consider religious liberty to be a dangerous ploy to undermine all civil rights laws. So they want this stopped at all. And they want people to be forced. And they actually use the word forced to follow the LGBT agenda with no exceptions. They want to demonize pro-family conservatives and silence all dissent. They want to push a radical political agenda to support Marxist economic policies and the right to early term abortion, they call it, and similar policies. So there's a lot more behind this than just immediately meets the eye, Jack.
I'm not surprised, but somehow still disappointed.
Yeah, really. I mean, this is what's coming down the pike here is not a good thing, and this is why we had to stand up for Kim Davis, and I'm interested to see how far she and her legal team will want to take this, because they've already made concessions. They've already changed husband and wife on this particular marriage license to spouse 1 and spouse 2. You know,
sounds like a
kind
Dr.
of like
Seuss book.
Like thing 1 and thing 2. Goodness, it's not funny, really.
All right, Barbara, you've
okay?
You've brought me down. I need something. I need something to cheer me up. And I think Chris in Seminole, Oklahoma, has just what the doctor ordered. He's listening on Oklahoma Catholic Broadcasting, FM 97.3. Chris, bail me out. I'm begging you.
All right,
Hi, Chris.
I'll try. I missed the first 5 minutes of the program. I was in an area I couldn't pick it up, but someone called in about having a large family, and y'all were commenting on it.
Right.
And I just wanted to second what he said earlier, that I'm one of 18 children, same mother, same father, raised Catholic, and we definitely are all. We love our brothers and sisters, and it was wonderful growing up in a big family. We didn't have any problem with it at all.
It is. And what was your best thing? What did you learn the most, Chris, from this experience?
Oh, gee. First of all, you got to learn to listen to mom and dad and respect. One of the first things I learned is you don't ever hit your sisters. And I had 11 of them, so I learned that pretty well.
Oh, 11 sisters. God love you. Oh, my goodness. Well, and that's true. You know, that's true that your parents were authority figures to you, and you heard no from your parents.
Yeah.
A lot of kids today never hear the word no.
Yeah,
and
that's the problem.
Yeah, so when they get on their own, since they never heard the word no, they can't say no to themselves.
Right.
And then they get into all kinds of trouble.
That is true. But
true.
Mom's actually still living. Dad died 6 years ago, but she's 93 now.
Wow. My mom is 89, and Daddy died a couple years ago. So, yeah, that was a hard thing, boy, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So how young is the baby in your family now, out of 18?
The baby, let's see, I believe he just turned 40. He was born in 65, so I think he just turned 40. No, 50. He just turned 50.
Just turned 50.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad you called, Chris. That is just, really, I would love to hear from more of you out there who came from large families. I mean, it's not always easy. You can't say it was a downhill run on a water slide, could you, Chris?
Oh, yes, definitely. But, you know, my dad worked hard. He was in the oil field most of my life since I was about 3. And he worked hard. He had his own business aside, you know, plus pumping oil wells. And but we never did without. I mean, he worked hard, and we always had everything we needed.
And so did we. And you know what I think one of the greatest lessons that I learned? You were too busy to be selfish. I mean, you could not have a self-centered mentality, because there was always a baby who needed something, or an older brother or sister who needed to talk or wanted to play a game or something like that, or had a ball game to go to, which was exciting. So thanks, Chris. Oh my gosh, I'm glad he called.
Thanks, Chris, so much for that phone call. We've got plenty of time to hear from you at 1-800-585-9396. Talking pro-life issues on an open line Tuesday with our pro-life warrior, Barbara McGuigan.
Coming up later today on Cresta in the Afternoon.
Our topics during Cresta in the Afternoon toggle between church teaching and then using that teaching to shine a light on our world. We'll look at Christ in culture, church and world, religion and public life, from abortion to Zechariah and everything in between. Biblical criticism, Hollywood productions, academic debate, family and love, prayer and spirituality.
Cresta in the Afternoon, later today on EWTN Radio.
This is the Pope Paul VI Institute Minute with Dr. Tom Hilgers.
Women's health care and the care of children and families is an exciting field for an obstetrician gynecologist, but some disturbing trends have been developing over the past 40 years. The shifts in sexual behavior, far from being revolutionizing, have been sexually retarding. These disturbing trends must be halted. Women must lead the action, and all of society must join them. Because the Creighton Model Fertility Care System and NAPRO technology help to build respect for women, for fertility, for life, and for children, and because they help to create a different worldview of the human being and sexuality, the Creighton Model System and NAPRO technology are our ways of helping to reverse these trends, looking for real solutions to real problems. Until next time, I'm Dr. Tom Hilgers.
For a complimentary gift and more information on the Pope Paul VI Institute, log on to www.popepaul6, that's Roman numeral 6.com.
What's stopping you from becoming a Catholic?
Why can't women become priests?
I don't understand why I have to earn salvation.
How is it possible that God created everything?
Why do I need to confess my sins to a priest? Why is the Catholic Church so unwilling to The Catholic Church is too rich.
Catholics worship Mary and are committed.
As far as I'm concerned, all religions are equal.
You are called to communion with Dr. David Anders. Tonight, 11 p.m. Eastern on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Thank you for listening to EWTN Radio.
This is Open Line on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. If you have a question or comment, call 1-800-585-9396. Outside North America, call 1-205-271-2985 or send an email to openline@ewtn.com.
Tonight on Mother Angelica Live Classics, Mother Angelica talks about just wages, and with all the talk in recent months and years about the minimum wage and the implications of raising the minimum wage, be a good talk tonight from Mother Angelica, 8 Eastern on EWTN Television, and tomorrow night on EWTN Live, Father Mitch welcomes fellow Jesuit Father David McConey, and he'll discuss the life and teachings of St. Augustine. Some Jesuits talking about St. Augustine. Go figure. That's tomorrow night on EWTN Live, 8 Eastern on EWTN Television. Barbara, we had a caller, Judy, who was unable to hold, and what she was wanting to ask is she's responsible for helping to put together a pro-life event and was wondering if you could give her a recommendation for a good speaker for a pro-life event.
Okay, well, you know what? Yeah, I sure could. And the first one that comes to my mind is Father Shannon Bouquet from HLI, the president of HLI. He does such a very good job. And then there's Monica. Remember when Monica called last week? Monica Miller? I would say that she would be a wonderful pro-life speaker. Jack, do you remember the name of her organization, how they would get in touch with her?
I do not. Elena, our producer, knows that organization, and she will have that up for us here in just. But if you Google Dr. Monica Miller,
okay,
her organization would come up for sure.
Would come up for sure. Lila Rose would be another one that I would recommend, and not to recommend myself, but just to give a pitch. I'll be speaking at down in San Diego at their big Magnificat breakfast. And this will be, to give a little pitch for it, it will be at the Mission Valley Sheraton, which is on 1433 Camino del Rio South in San Diego. Starts at 9:30 this Saturday morning. And I would love to meet you if you are able to come to this Magnificat breakfast. They are really wonderful breakfasts, too.
And you can find all of Dr. Monica Miller's information at prolifesociety.com. That's prolifesociety.com. Back to the phones we go. Elizabeth is in New Orleans, Louisiana, listening on Catholic Community Radio, the mighty 690 in New Orleans. Elizabeth, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi.
Hi. How can I help?
I was once again going to comment on the large family theme that's kind of been running.
Yes.
And you said that you were kind of like, you wish you would have known the woman's motivation of why she said that women shouldn't have so many children. And I'm just from talking to people in college and in our pro-life group and stuff, I think a kind of an irrational fear a lot of people have is that, like, there's not enough resources and that more people in the world is just going to destroy the world, especially if you live in a large city. You think that, like, there's no space, and I can't believe how many people are in the world. But there's this awesome website called overpopulationisamyth.com talking about how when there is poverty and when there is lack of resources, it's never due to too many people. It's always due to war and lack of infrastructure. And more people actually help people get out of poverty. Not to mention that large families help teach really great social skills such as leadership and cooperating with others.
You go, Elizabeth.
You go, girl. Keep on. That's great.
Well, I'm from a large family, so, like, I've seen that, like, all of my siblings really have, like, just, gone at it life. And I think that's what we learn from our families, and that we don't take resources, but instead are actually called to be leaders, and we actually go out into the world to really change it because we learn it from our families first.
Oh, you are a woman after my heart, let me tell you, Elizabeth. Where are you in the lineup?
I am 4, so there's 3 above me and 4 below me, and I have 1 brother.
Oh, that's
God
just
bless
one
him.
brother. Oh. God bless him is right. Oh, that's cute. Well, he will know how to relate to women, and that's a very, very good thing. And that's another point in coming from a large family. You learn how to relate to a person on just about every age level. And you can see just exactly your social skills, I believe, improve so much. And I think that it's just such a beautiful thing. And you're right. Overpopulation, if they've bought that lie, and I'm happy you gave me that website, Overpopulation is a Myth. I think I've been on that once or twice, but I want to check out and see. It's a fear. They bought the lie that too many people ruin the country, ruin a nation, whatever. And it's just the opposite. You have future taxpayers coming up. Why do you think we're in such a mess here in this country? Because we have more people over the age of 65 than under the age of 5. Look at our Social Security program. It can all be traced back to this sort of common fear that you talked about. And, Johnette Bankovic is such a dear soul, and she told me an acronym for fear: false evidence appearing real. And I never forget this. I put it in all my docs. False evidence appearing real, FEAR. And then, of course, trust is the other one that she gave to me. True resolve under severe testing. And boy, Elizabeth, we're going to be severely tested coming up here in the future. And I'm thankful that you called, and I'm thankful that you gave such good information, dear lady.
Thank you, Elizabeth. We appreciate the phone call, and God bless you and your whole family. Barbara, do you think Elizabeth's brother has ever lifted a finger?
I remember, because I have 3 daughters and a son, 2 miscarriages, unfortunately. They could have been boys, I'm not sure. But my 3 daughters, when we took our son was the baby, and when we took him to his first swimming lessons, the 3 girls and I all went to his first swimming lesson. And as soon as he got out of the water at the end with a big smile on his face, one daughter had a comb to comb his hair. The other one had a towel to wrap him up in. And I don't know what the other one was doing. She was all excited. And the teacher looked at me and she said, "This kid is going to have a Peter Pan complex." And he didn't. If you knew him today, you would crack up. But he loves women, and he loves his wife and his new baby girl, and he just he relates to people on so many levels. It's a wonderful thing.
Well, heading out of Peoria, Illinois, Jessica listening on FM 94.3. Jessica, thanks for holding. You're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hi, Jessica.
Hi, Barbara. Good to talk to you. I'm going to
talk
jump
to
on the
you.
big family bandwagon before I tell you anything else.
Okay.
I come from generations of large families.
Yay! Good.
Our families tend to be equal opportunity for males and females. My mother picked tobacco with her brothers. I worked with mine. Yep. And there's just no no lines drawn. The boys have to pick up their dishes and help around the house, and the girls have to do the heavy work along with the guys. So it's a beautiful, beautiful relationship all the way around from top to bottom.
It is so true. And the only discord in my family that I can see is when we have a difference in political views. And there are only a few of them, thanks be to God. But that's a difficult thing. And generally, this is when a new brother-in-law or new sister-in-law is brought into the mix, Other than that, we're all very happy campers. But that is the only problem that we have in our family as far as relating to one another. Do you have anything like that, Jessica?
We do. Unfortunately, it's a cousin, not an in-law, but I'd say 98% we're all on the same page.
Oh, that's
good. Once in a while you get, I think it's more from an idealistic viewpoint, but the idealism doesn't translate into what I see in today's world. So
it's so true, and it's you're right. And not one of my brothers or sisters would say that they are not pro-life. I mean, every last one of them is against abortion, and so
I think that's true even of the dissidents in our family. They might be on the liberal side, but they certainly are for life all the way.
Yes.
All
Amen. Jessica, thanks, dear heart, for calling. Glad you did.
I just had an issue with makeup. My mother and her 5 sisters never wore makeup. Me and my sisters never wore makeup. My 2 daughters don't wear makeup. We don't see the correlation between that and being neat and clean and all that. I'm sure Mother Angelica doesn't wear makeup, and the Virgin Mary, whose birthday we celebrate today, never wore it either. Yeah. I see misuse in that area. I see people on television, even on ESPN, that just, you almost need a trowel to get it off. I think the face God gave us is way better than anything we could possibly do to make it change.
I'm with you, Jessica. I don't wear makeup either.
My brothers don't either.
Thanks be to God for that. The thing is, I do wear makeup, but
okay,
not to the
I
extreme.
Just don't consider that the same as being sloven. I don't consider not wearing makeup the same as being slovenly. We always had to dress up for church. We were always clean. Our hair was shampooed and combed. Our faces were washed, and our shoes were polished.
Yep, that's right.
That I can see. It's a sign of respect.
Yes.
We just were never into makeup or nail polish or stuff like that. It just didn't seem normal.
Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with that. That's the way you were brought up, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
I
just
do
wanted to draw the distinction between that and being sloppy, and I don't see that they match. I think makeup. I don't know. I can't stand stuff on my skin, so maybe I was just raised that way. We washed with soap.
Yes.
And we figured that was good enough, and we figured whatever face God gave us was as good as it can get.
Okay, good. Well, thank you for your comments. Thanks for calling.
Thanks, Jessica. Appreciate the phone call today. We'll head now to Kansas City, Missouri. Jennifer listening on AM 1090. Jennifer, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Barbara.
How can I help?
Well, I have a question. My husband and I have been married for about 9 years, and we've both had opposing opinions on NFP. Meaning, I realize it's the right thing to do, and it's what we need to be doing, and he's completely opposite.
Okay.
We tried using it in the beginning, and we have 3 beautiful children. And to him, it didn't work.
But wait. You say you have 3 beautiful children. Are you saying that NFP doesn't work?
That's what, whenever my husband and I talk about this, his view of it is that it doesn't work.
Well, the rhythm method had a difficult time, but thanks be to God we did have the rhythm method, because it was what do they call it? Sometimes the Model T of NFP. If we hadn't had the rhythm method, we wouldn't have had the science behind natural family planning as we do today. But were you self-taught when it came to NFP?
No, we actually took classes and started using, it's actually Creighton that we were using.
Oh my goodness, that's one of the best.
Mhm.
Well, did you actually follow it to the letter or not so much?
Yes, I felt that I did. I probably had a lot of questions with it and definitely was asking a lot of the teacher, but I think it kind of came down to where my cycles were a little different and we were going to have to start following some special instructions. But in the meantime of all of that, there was just a lot of frustration. And
well, did you follow up on the frustration, though, dear heart? Did you follow up on the frustration and go and get the extra counseling that you needed?
I would say maybe not to the extent
that you really needed it.
Not necessarily, right, but also my husband had made up his mind that we're done. Yeah. I'm not doing this anymore. So I felt I was at a point where what do I do? It's just me. It would just be me going and doing all of this. And
so did you give up then? Did you give up on the whole thing?
I don't know if I would call it giving up. I just always felt that I don't know. I guess I would call, I don't know if I would call it giving up, but the topic has resurfaced in the last week, and we did talk about it, and it basically came down to he feels that he can't trust it, and if we were to do it again, he would just be doing it because I want him to.
Well, that's a good reason, though. That's a good enough of a reason, because you want him to, because you see the wisdom in it. Because what is the alternative? What's the alternative? Contraception?
Right, which
okay. Well, then see,
I'm not on that, so I'm not.
No. But I mean, is that what he would expect from you?
No, but and he's never. I don't know. I don't feel that it's a totally lost cause. That's why I'm kind of at a loss of.
Yeah.
Do we just go forward with this, and then if I just feel like I'm in the position to where all the pressure is on me to make sure this works.
Yeah, well, and it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. That's very difficult when that happens. But what I would suggest is that you talk to your parish priest. Do you have a good, solid parish priest you could talk to? And ask him if he could then sit down with your husband, because if you would, I don't know if you could get him to read Humani Vitae by Pope Paul VI, because he gives all the consequences of contraception, in this particular beautiful encyclical, probably one of the most least taught encyclicals, unfortunately. But, he explained how easily it was that the course of action could open wide the way for marital infidelity, a lowering of moral standards. A man who grows accustomed to the use of contraceptive methods may forget the reverence due to a woman and reduce her to being an instrument for the satisfaction of his desires. I mean, all these things are, and you'd say, well, what do these men at the Vatican know? A lot. The Holy Father is under the Spirit, the Holy Spirit. And so you have to realize that, they really, in matters of faith and morals, they know exactly. They are being led. So he needs more information is what he needs. And possibly because you were too busy, probably. If you had 3 little ones, you were too busy to follow up and get the extra counseling. Because some women do need that extra counseling, and they need to chart, and they need to show how it works, what possibly could have been going wrong or whatever. The counselor knows by looking at your chart. But I wouldn't give up on this. I really wouldn't, because it makes for much happier marriages. When you understand what's behind it, it makes for much happier marriages. So I wouldn't give up, okay?
Okay.
Alrighty. And you can go to Dr. Hilgers as well. I'm always pitching this great man because, that's the Pope Paul VI Institute, and you can ask to talk to one of his counselors. I don't know what state you're in. If you can also go to Mystical Rose OBGYN.com or .org. I can't remember which, but you'll get it. You'll come there. Mystical Rose OBGYN.com. .com or org. And what that will tell you is Dr. Teresa Stigen, Stigen, is awesome. And she is a trained naprotechnologist. So this would be another reason why you would want to get her advice on how to proceed as well. Okay?
Okay.
God bless you.
All right.
And I'll tell you what else,
Thank
Jennifer.
you.
You might ask your priest when you talk to him if he could recommend a gentleman in the parish that might be someone that would be good for your husband to maybe talk to one-on-one, who is on board and can help him through any of the fears that he might have.
Good idea, Jack. Great idea.
All right, Jennifer, we will keep you in our prayers here at the network, and I know Barbara will keep you in her prayers, and God bless you.
Absolutely.
We'll head there we
Mommy.
go. That's a perfect coup de
Just
grace
in
right
time.
there.
Amen. Next
up is Diane in Dickinson, North Dakota, listening on Real Presence Radio, FM 101.9. Diane, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hi, Diane.
Well, hi, Barbara. How are you?
I couldn't be better. What can I help you with? Anything?
Well, this is great. I've been on hold for a while, but then I get to actually listen to all the conversations because normally I'm running around, doing this, doing that, and you get away from the radio. So I got to listen for a half an hour. That was super. Somewhere in there,
Praise
not quite.
God. Good.
But anyway, I just wanted to add to the numbers, talking about large families.
Yeah.
And my parents just celebrated their 69th wedding anniversary, and we had the celebration on Saturday. And there's 15 children in our family. Now, we had 77 guests, and if my brother had been here, who lives in New Hampshire, he had 9 children, and he's got around 40 grandchildren. So if more of the family members had been here, we would have had close to 70 more people. And this was all at the farmhouse and the yard.
Fun.
And the neat part is my mother, she had a stroke like 10 years ago, and so she is fully disabled. And Father Charlie Height, who's a retired priest, is at our parish right now, substituting for a while. And so we always have a priest out here to come and bless Mom and Dad. And so he realized, he says, your mom hasn't been to Mass for a while. How about I come out to the farm? And so that's what he did. So we had a Mass before supper. It was just, it was so beautiful. And Mom's face was just aglow. I mean, he gave her a drop of the blood, and she opened her mouth for the host. I mean, it was it was beautiful because she always says that there's a miracle at every Mass. That was her concept of miracles.
And isn't that the truth?
Yes.
That the truth? Oh, Diane, that's wonderful. I'm so glad that you called with that information. So 15 children in your family. And where were you in the lineup?
I'm the third oldest.
The third oldest. Okay, good.
Yep.
Awesome.
And so I had 5 children of my own and 15 grandchildren, and now I will have a third great-grandchild. And we we get together several times a year, and so it's so much fun, just big groups of people. And
yeah, you always have somebody watching your back, Yeah. That's what it seems like to me sometimes, It's just always a good feeling. Well, thank you so much for the call. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Barbara. We love your show.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Next up is Judy in Canada. She's listening on Sirius XM Channel 130. Judy, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hi, Judy.
Hello.
How can we help?
Well, I'm just making a comment about big families.
Great.
I'm the 8th child of 12, and my husband is the 5th child of 11.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was kind of amazing how we met. We met at our parish here in Salmon Arm, Canada, and it was both of our families were thinking of moving to the same town in Saskatchewan, and then we decided to move to the same town in BC. So I think that God had a plan for us to meet no matter where we were. So that's nice.
You better know it. He definitely has that plan. Well, isn't that wonderful? And now you have children as well?
Yeah, I'm 22 years old and been married for 2 years, and I'm currently pregnant with my second.
Oh, isn't that beautiful? You do. You have such a young little boy. So 22, that's a beautiful thing, Judy. Well,
Yeah,
you are a great testimony now.
Yeah, I'm planning on having, I want lots of kids, but usually when I tell people that, they kind of just look at me funny. And, you always hear the stories from my mom, all the comments that she got, obviously, you know, like, wow, don't you know how that happens? And all those comments, and it's really disheartening. But my mom always just keeps a smile on her face and says, well, you know, like, they're all a gift, and I couldn't do without any of them.
There
so.
you go. She was open to life, and that's the greatest witness to God, to life, to love, to the Lord and giver of life. It's the greatest witness you can give. And you know what, Judy, while you're on the line here, we had someone call, and I don't want her heart to be broken at all that we're talking about large families. Apparently, she says that some people look down on those who only have one or two children. Well, that's wrong to look down on anyone with one or two children, because life is a gift from God, and that may be what God ordained from all eternity and through all eternity for them to have, is one or two children. Maybe they've had one miscarriage after the other. You don't know. We are never to judge another couple, another soul ever, not even our own. God is the judge. So, you know, infertility is a very big cross for some people to carry. So we surely wouldn't want anyone to think that because you don't have a large family that you are not a witness to life. Right, Jack?
Absolutely. I concur wholeheartedly, and I think we do a little bit too much of that in general. Making judgment calls on things that we probably don't have enough information to make judgment calls on.
That's right. How could you, huh?
Yeah, there's the church is a big place, and
it's a big place.
A lot of people are going to be in a lot of different situations, and I think that big families are definitely a witness to the rest of the Catholic community and to the rest of the community at large, to the love and mercy of God.
Yes, that's so true. And maybe the couples that are infertile, for example, maybe God, obviously he has other plans for them. Like the couple I know that are youth ministers, and they have a zillion kids. They go to weddings constantly, and baptisms. So, yeah.
And we don't know, because the woman who had made the comment was referring to a friend of hers who had had several miscarriages. So we don't know what circumstances led to what we see before us oftentimes in other people.
Right. Amen.
Well, Barbara, I'm glad I had you do your homework. It made for a whole show.
It sure did, didn't it?
We'll do it again next Tuesday with our pro-life warrior, Barbara McGuigan. We'll be back at it again tomorrow with Father Mitch Pacwa, back from his Alaskan adventure. And then Thursday, we'll talk to Father Larry Richards about the new evangelization. And then EWTN Roundtable is in the house on Friday. On behalf of our host, Barbara McGuigan, our producer, Elena Rodriguez, call screener, Matt Gabinski, I'm Jack Williams, thanking you once again for taking some time out of your day to spend with us. Back at it tomorrow with Father Mitch. Until we get together then, God bless.